Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of The People Behind the Stories, the podcast where we highlight the voices and journeys of those making an impact in our community. We are so excited to be with you today.
Yes, whether you're tuning in from the Valley or somewhere else, we're so excited to have you here with us today. I'm Karen.
And I'm Frida. And today we have a very special guest. She's an author, educator, and the creator of Border Bash, a celebration of books and culture here in South Texas. She also edited the powerful anthology Living Beyond Borders, which uplifts Mexican American voices and powerful stories.
Please help me welcome Miss Margarita Longoria. Hi, Miss Margie. How are you today?
Hi, girls. Nice to be here.
Before we get started, actually, could you share a little bit about, where you grew up and what your community was like growing up?
I grew up right here in Edinburg, Texas. I graduated from high school from Edinburg High School, so I'm a Bobcat. Very proud to be a Bobcat.
We're all Bobcats here.
Yay! No, so I grew up here, so it was and back then Edinburg was a little bit smaller than it is right now. Edinburg's kind of grown a lot, and it's crazy for me to see how much our town has grown. But you know what? That's good. I grew up in a very tight-knit community with my family. I had 3 brothers, 1 sister, a mom and a dad, and a lot of great friends who the people that I've known since like elementary school are the same people I've been friends with my whole life. And so I love that I grew up here. I love that that I'm from Edinburgh.
Valley-born.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Growing up, what role did like books and reading and like literacy play in your life? Did you have access to a lot of books growing up? Was there something like you had to seek out, like maybe you had to go somewhere else to get books?
Well, I was very lucky. My mom was a first grade teacher, so she taught me to read before I went to kinder. So I was reading when I was like 4 years old, right? So she would read, and my dad was a big reader. So I remember we were the only kids in the world, I swear we were, the only kids in the world who didn't have an Atari. Back then it was an Atari. Everybody in the neighborhood had Ataris but us, and my dad wouldn't buy us video games because he would tell us, I would like, Dad, we want an Atari because we wanted to play Pac-Man. And he was like, no, because video games will rot your brain. So he never let us. So if we were bored, there was books, and my parents never said no to books. So I love to read. My mom was reading to us since we were kids, since we were babies. So I loved to read, and I still love to read. I remember back then we used to have a store at the mall called Walden Books. And I used to be like, Dad, you take me to the mall so I can buy books? And he would take me. Like, it was never no to books. And the Scholastic book flyers, and they would send them at home and I would circle everything. And he would buy me everything. Like, he never said no to books. So I was very blessed. And then plus the library. Edinburgh Public Library, back when it was over here in East Edinburgh, that was my library. And my mom would go study with her because my mom, she was a history teacher, and then she went back to become elementary school teacher, so she had to go back to school for a little bit, and she would take us, to the library when she'd go study with her friends. And in the summer, I remember I just wanted to go to the library, so she had friends that were the librarians, so she would just drop me off. Not my little brother didn't care, but like she would drop me off, and I would stay there all day with the librarians. Wow. I loved the library.
So would you consider that maybe like your parents were the ones who encouraged your love of reading?
Oh, yes.
And did you have maybe by any chance a teacher who would also like implement that in you? Or would you consider it more your parents?
It was my parents. And I was and then I did have some wonderful English teachers growing up. So at South Junior High and at Edinburgh High School. But no, my love of reading started at home with my mom and my dad.
That's so sweet.
That's amazing.
Yes.
Okay, and when did you know, or like maybe realize, or you wanted to like dedicate yourself to not only reading and writing, but also help others like connect with books?
I was an 8th grade English teacher. I taught reading. So I worked at Alton Memorial Junior High. That was my first teaching job, and it was 8th graders. And I remember going in there, like all these beautiful, and I see these kids still, they're not kids anymore, they're like adults. But I remember like they wanted to read, and I wanted to make reading fun, because I know reading can not be fun for some people, and I wanted to make it fun. So I wanted to pick books that they would like, and we read so many great books. Like we read The Outsiders, and The Diary of Anne Frank. And I remember these kids just like these were good books, that we read. But I remember asking my students asking me, like, where are the stories about Mexicans? And I was like, wow. Like, when growing up, we didn't have books like this. Like, we didn't have books that represented our culture the way we have them now. But, and I remember thinking, like, I was like, wow, these kids are so, like, intuitive to ask that, because I never asked that, because I read whatever was there for me to read. And so I was like, you know what, guys, I'm going to start looking. So I would start looking for books for them, like by, Hispanic writers. And there wasn't a lot. There was a few. There was like Sandra Cisneros, but she was kind of too mature for 8th graders. There was some stuff we could read, but a lot of, there was some that we couldn't. There was Viola Canales, Carmen Tafoya, and Dr. Inez Saldana, who was my professor in college. He wrote a book called The Jumping Tree. And I remember I read it with my students, and they loved that book, because I taught in mission. So the book was, Dr. Saldana was from La Jolla. So his story takes place in the La Jolla, McAllen mission area. So there was all these landmarks the kids recognized, and it was so fun. And I thought to myself, like, we need more stuff like this. Right. So that's what sparked me, because I wanted there to be books for the kids that I served here
to relate to.
Yes.
And this is awesome that you bring this up. I mean, I would have never imagined that was, like, I guess the primary reason for you writing this amazing anthology that was very successful, by the way. I mean, it is incredible to see how something that was kind of like, I guess, right there, that no one else had the idea to take initiative on that, and you did. So with this in mind, you already talked about kind of like the snowball effect of what was happening or what you were seeing around your community as a teacher. What was the genesis, the actual, like, starting point for you to start creating Living Beyond Borders?
Okay, I don't want to get political, because it's not a political piece, but when I decided to do Living Beyond Borders, I had left the classroom and I was in the library, and the same kids, that I was servicing at the junior high, they were now in the high school, and these kids were my kids. They were, I have 2,300 kids at Mission High School, and they're all of our kids, right? So there was a moment in time when this book was born from words of hate. Like, we were targeted. People were calling us racist, calling us rapists, calling us bad people, calling us all these things, these ugly, ugly words and ugly, ugly rhetoric around the Mexican culture. And it upset me, because I thought of my 8th graders when I taught them. I thought of my kids at the high school. I thought of my sons, my nephews, my nieces, my friends' kids. Like, how dare somebody say that we're bad people? Like, there's bad people everywhere, and it's not necessarily one ethnicity, one race, one group. And it upset me, and I was like, how do I fight back where people will listen? And I decided to fight back with words, because words are very powerful. Books are powerful. We don't, like, that's the perfect medium to try to get, books are mirrors and windows. We see into communities, and then other communities can see our community as well too. So that was very important to me, to put together a diverse collection of what it really was to be Mexican in America. A lot of times people think we Mexicans only live on the Texas border, on the California border. We're all over the world, but we're all over the country too. So
we make up most of the population.
Yes, we do. So it was like, so I wanted a book, a collection that represented different ages. Like, there's some older writers, there's some younger writers. So the time, like, it was more of I wanted different stories of different time eras. I wanted stories of different, like, I wanted fiction, and I wanted essays, and I wanted nonfiction. So I wanted a collection of all kinds of stuff, because, and then again, the English teacher in my head had English teachers in mind. I wanted this book to be read in English classes and in 8th grade classes and all the classes, right? Because, why not? We can read Shakespeare and Chicano literature. It's all, like, we're all, that's what I wanted. So I set out to put a collection together that teachers could use in the classroom. And that was my goal, was for it to be used, and for all our kids to read it, for everybody's kid to read it all over, that people could understand who we are as Mexican Americans. And so my students and our young kids, our young people, can see themselves and know that they're not bad people, that they're not anything that anybody says of them, that we are good, kind. We're a beautiful community. We're a beautiful people. And I wanted that to come across in this anthology.
I love everything that you just said. I feel like you're like that teacher from the Freedom Writers. Like you wanted to give them a chance. Like you know that they have potential, and you just wanted people to like feel accepted, because sometimes it is. And I'm pretty sure I know what time period that you're specifying whenever you say that. Because how long ago was this written?
Well, it was published in 2021.
But
so
it started in.
But my whole little, it started in 2016.
Yes, exactly. I kind of had a feeling or suspicion that it was around there. It is I don't know, so endearing to see how you took it upon yourself to start creating this anthology of all these stories, anecdotes from all these authors here from the Valley, to have our voices be heard so that people understand things. Would you like to like maybe share a particular essay or story from your collection that I guess resonated with you as an author or growing up? There's
so many stories. Every story in that book means a lot to me. I can tell you where I was the moment, like, because whenever I was putting this together, I was thinking of the writers that I wanted in this collection. And so I started contacting writers and stuff to see if they wanted to give me something. And so some did, some didn't. And when they would send me their stories, I remember the first story I got was by Lupe Ruiz. It was the most beautiful. It's called My Name is Dolores. And it's about a little girl who didn't speak English. And she was going to school and she was worried about going to school the next day because she didn't speak English. And her mom was just saying, say, my name is Dolores. My name is Dolores. And she was just kind of like, it's a heartbreaking story. And when I read it, that was my mom growing up. My mom didn't speak English when she was a migrant farm worker. So that was her. That was so many of our moms, so many of our grandmas, so many, my mom had to teach herself English, and my mother's the only one in her family that has a college education. So, that story, when I read it, I was like, oh my God, if I could get 20 more stories as beautiful and powerful as this anthology is going to be great, right? So, and then I started getting stories in, and like, there's just so many, all of them. There's the essay by Trinidad Gonzalez, Dr. Gonzalez. His stories about his essays whenever he worked at the Smithsonian. And the story behind Dr. Gonzalez was his dad and my dad played high school football together. They played Bobcat football together. So, and Trini was older than me, but I remember seeing him at church, and I remember my dad and him, our dads were like really good friends. But and then Dr. Gonzalez he's this like nationally recognized Mexican American study scholar. He runs the program at STC. He's very amazing, very brilliant. And when I was thinking of this, I was like, I want him to write me a story. So I remember emailing him out of nowhere, finding his email. I hadn't seen him in years because my father's passed away, his father's passed away. So we haven't seen each other. Hadn't seen each other in years. So I emailed him. I was like, I don't know if you remember me. And he was like, I do remember you. But I was like, and I was telling him what I was doing. And he was like, well, I don't write fiction. And I was like, well, I don't want fiction. I want something from you, like something you've experienced. And I was like, I want whatever you want. Like whatever you want to give me, I want. So he wrote me this beautiful essay about his experience working at the Smithsonian as being a Mexican, working over there, and a scholar. So so I love that story too, because then, because of the connection, I was like, I told him whenever all this was said and done, I was like, our fathers would be so proud of us right now, because we did this, and there's a poem in there by Justine Narro. Justine was my library clerk at Mission High School. We hired her. She was super young and I needed a library clerk. My old library clerk got sick and she had to retire, and I thought I was going to die without her. Aww. And so they were like, well, you need to hire somebody else. So we hired Justine, and I remember Justine, she was great. She loved books. And then she had told me that she was a English major, that she writes poetry. And I was like, so she started letting me read her work. And I was like, Justine, you're brilliant. Like, why aren't you published? And she was like, oh, well, she didn't. So whenever I was going to do this, I was like, you need to give me a poem. Like, I don't care what you say, figure it out. You're going to give me a poem and we're going to get you published. So she did. And she gave me, I Want to Go Home. And it's another beautiful story about living here in the Valley, living in Texas on the border. So there's just so many stories in there all the stories in there that I just love them all. And I'm very, very proud of the work that we did, and the work that we've done, and the work that we're continuing to do with this anthology. You know, it came out, like I said, in 2021, and it's still like, it hasn't stopped. Like, we still, it's been on, state reading lists. It was the Battle of the Books book for last year for Region 1. It's just been, we're very blessed, very lucky that we've been able to share these stories. And then, as a matter of fact, it's all over the world. Like, it's crazy when I think about it, because I've had people tag me. Like, I had an interview with somebody from the UK, I remember, and she had showed me she sent me a picture that the book was in a bookstore, like, and I was like, in Jane Austen land. Like, I was like, oh my God, like, that's it. Like, it was so amazing to me. And then in libraries in Zimbabwe and Dubai, places I'll never probably be, but the book is there, and our stories are there. Our real, authentic stories are there, not stories that somebody made up, not stories that somebody stereotyped, like real, authentic stories from people who've lived this life.
But like, while you were creating this book, I'm sure it took a super long time to actually get it done and get it published and get everything out there. While you were writing or putting everything together, did you expect something this big to occur? Or like, did you expect it to take off like this?
No. I didn't expect this. I was honestly doing this for English teachers, and I thought to myself, I'll print copies on the copy machine and I'll pass it out to all of my friends. Like, that's what it was. It was important for me to get it in classrooms. Mm-hmm. And so I never in a million years thought this, but it's been and it's amazing because it is in classrooms. It's in college classrooms. It's in high school campuses. It's everywhere. And I'm very grateful. Like, I love whenever they'll come, like, people will get in touch with me and say, can you come talk to our kids at this college or this high school, this? And I'm like, yes, I'll go. And I love to go talk to these kids because, people a lot of times, and that's another thing, like, I want our kids to know that if you have, a dream, that it's okay to dream it and it's okay to chase it. And that I'm living proof that you can get there, and you will get there if you just keep, believe in yourself and believe in your craziness.
I love that. Believe in your craziness. Well, congratulations on all your accomplishments. It's so surreal. Like, you're such an accomplished woman, and not that you're an ordinary Joe, but I mean, you're one of us. Like, I am definitely one of us. Yes. Yeah, like, we're Mexican women. We're so empowered to do so many things, and with your literacy, with your passion, your drive and you still do community things, and we're going to touch on that. You started what we know as
Border Bash. Yeah. For listeners who may not be familiar, what is Border Bash, and why did you feel it was important to start it here in the Valley?
Border Book Bash is going to be 10 years old this year. So when I started it, when I thought of this idea, I used to go to these, when I was in library school, they asked us to go volunteer doing book stuff, right? Well, there wasn't really book stuff here. And I went to go volunteer at a book festival in Houston called Houston Book Con or something. And I went, and I was just like blown away. It was a big event. They had all these young adult authors, and they were busing kids in from all over Houston for a whole day of meeting authors, listening to authors. And I was like, I want this. Like, I want to do this where I live, right? Because I thought to myself, like, if I were in high school or even in elementary, whatever, if S.E. Hinton were to have come to my campus, I would have died, like, how awesome, like, to be able to meet one of your favorite writers as a bookworm, and so I was like, this is what I want for our area. And so the closest one at the time was in Corpus had one. So I went to go see theirs, and they had so I was kind of, I want to do this. So that's why I started it, because a lot of our kids can't travel to Corpus, can't travel to Austin, can't travel. So I wanted it to be here so we could, and then I move it. Like, it's not even in the same place. Sometimes the first one was in Mission, then we had one in Far, Wessico, Mercedes, Edinburgh. Like, I move it because I want everybody to be able to get it. Yes. And, and that was important to me because I wanted, and a lot of times whenever we do book events, they're always for the babies, for the littles. And that's fine. The littles need to learn to read, need to love to read too. But I feel that we lose our kids in junior high and high school. And if you don't have anything fun for them, so that was something that I wanted fun for them to be able to say, oh, like I'm going to go meet, like, and then we've had some amazing people. We had Meg Medina, Simone Alcalis, Pablo Cartaya, Lilian Rivera. I mean, we've had amazing writers that have come to the Valley to meet our young people. And I love it. And just for the record, I think it was like 2 years ago, Essie Hinton, she's getting up there in age. And Ralph Macchio, he wrote a autobiography, right? Mm-hmm. And Justine, as a matter of fact, when I was just talking about, she was living in Oklahoma. And she was like, oh my God, guess what? Essie Hinton and Ralph Macchio are going to be here in Tulsa for a book thing, because he wrote a book, and so they were going to be talking. And I was like, you're kidding. So I was like, okay. So then I remember I got I got tickets. I booked a flight to Tulsa. She picked me up in the middle of the night. I remember I got there so late. The next day we went to the Outsiders Museum. They have like where they filmed the Outsiders, the little house. It's a museum in Tulsa. So we went there. We spent all day there. It was amazing. And then at night we went to see Essie Hinton and Ralph Macchio do their little conversation over his book. And I was just like, I never thought I was going to be in the same room.
Breathing the
same air as Essie Hinton. So I mean, and I'm almost going to be 50 years old. So like, I was still like, so I can imagine, I know what it's like for little bookworms to meet their favorite writers. And so that's what I wanted. I wanted our bookworms to be able to meet their writers, their favorite authors.
And what has been the most rewarding part of seeing Border Bash grow over time?
What's been, it's a lot of work. And a lot of times I don't, like right now, I'm like going to just barely start doing stuff for it. But what's been most rewarding is all the librarians because it's not a Margie thing. And that's one thing that I've been very, big about. It's not like I get a group of high school librarians, junior high librarians who just want to help. And they'll call me there. I'm like, I'll just be like, I need volunteers. And boom, I've got an army of people and I need this and boom. Like, so it's just this wonderful community of beautiful people that come together and feed my authors, house my authors, come and help, with the setup and come and help just, what do we do? We do like when we do panels, moderate panels. And so that to me has been the most amazing thing, just to see like all these people and all these kids. They come to get like all these little bookworms, like they get to come and meet other little bookworms from all around the Valley. And that's very, very fun.
So are there maybe any new projects you're currently working on, maybe another book or another upcoming event that we should keep an eye out for?
I do have other books that I'm working on with my agent. It's a little, because I need to be better, but I'm very I have kids and I have a job, so I'm trying to get I'm almost there. So I'm working on 2 projects right now with my agent, and hopefully I keep saying I'm going to get them done by the end of the year. So hopefully I get them ready for her by the end of the year, and we'll see where they go.
Yeah, sounds good. Well, we'll keep an eye out for that. And then when are you planning on having your next Border Bash?
December 7th.
We helped you out last
year.
I was going to say, is it around December? I remember it being so cold.
It was the coldest day of the year.
Yes.
It was so cold.
It was so hot every other day, and then that it was freezing.
And raining.
Yes. Alrighty. So then if you could collaborate with any author, Essie Hinton, no. We already talked about her. And it's so funny that you bring her up. She's such a loved author. I believe it was David Norick who also said that Essie Hinton was she is so loved. But besides Essie Hinton, what other author would you like to collaborate with or organize an event with or create something with? Who would be your dream collaboration?
Okay, so Judy Blume. No, I love Judy Blume. No, I would think maybe what I would love to do, I would love to have a publishing house, have an imprint of just the Latino stories, be Margie Longoria presents, and then all these amazing Penguin Random House, and then I'd be the person that spearheads all the books that come in, and I get to pick and choose who I want to publish. That's what I would love. That's my dream collaboration, is to do something like that, an imprint for
everyone,
for Latinos. Yes.
Yeah. That's so cool.
That would be an amazing thing to have, especially Latino owned or Latino.
I wouldn't own it because Penguin would own it, but I would be I get to pick and I get to choose and I get to
read all these.
read all the books. Yeah, that would be my job.
Get paid to read.
Get paid to read stories
All the
about
books.
If Frida could get
Mexicans.
paid just to read
Yeah,
a book,
I would.
man, she wouldn't even be living
I know.
anymore.
I know.
But no, I would probably. I'm going for teacher right now, so I just got into the program, so that's what I'm
Good,
studying right now.
congratulations,
Thank you.
Yeah.
But
What do you want to teach? English?
no, I'm doing bilingual education. So I want to start with the Spanish kids, get them up there because I was a bilingual kid myself, and we don't have the best programs down
we
here.
don't. Anyway, I know.
Yeah, it's been hard. So that's kind of what I want to do right now, and I do eventually want to get to the high school and do maybe Spanish up there, English. I don't know. It really just depends. See where the future
You're gonna be
takes me.
great.
Yeah, you are.
Thank you.
Because you like that's what you feel it in your heart.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do.
For
Yeah,
sure.
I
You can't fake that. I mean, you
just
either have it or you don't.
Yeah. And looking ahead, what is your vision for the next few years, both yourself as an author and as like for the entire South Texas literacy community?
Well, I would love to see more literacy events, and we're growing. There's a lot more now. You know, we have ours. We have the one in Westico that Sylvia does, and
AuthorCon.
yeah, and then AuthorCon and the one in McAllen. So I just wish that we could read more, like that students could read more, that like we would let kids read books and not necessarily. And that's another reason why I did an anthology, because I know how hard it is to get books into the classroom. It's hard to read a novel. It's hard to read a whole novel in the classroom. So anthologies are perfect for the classroom. But at the same time, kids need to be able to read a whole book, because that's how we need to, like for attention and all this stuff. Like kids need to be able to sit and read a whole book. So that's what I hope for the future, that we just grow as far as literacy is concerned, that we have books, inclusive books for all kids here.
And okay, Miss Margie, before we wrap up, is there anything that you would like to share with us about maybe where we can find Living Beyond Borders, or maybe how we can help, or any details about Border Bash? Anything that you would like to share about you as an author, or you as a community leader?
Border Book Bash will be in December 7th. I'm not sure the location yet. I think it's going to be, I don't want to say it because they did say yes, but I have to get it. I have to get it finalized. But it'll be December 7th. I think that's the day, the first weekend of December. And I'm excited about it, and I hope everybody comes. We have free books from South Texas Literacy Coalition, and we have amazing authors from all over the country that will be joining us that day. So I know.
And where can we find Living Beyond Borders for people who are interested in picking up this amazing read?
I'm so lucky that the Barnes & Noble here, both of them always have it. They always carry it. They're super great to me. But it's in Barnes & Noble, Amazon. It's everywhere. It's you can find it anywhere books are sold.
Yeah. All righty.
Well, thank you so much for being here with us today. It's been such an honor to hear your story and learn about the impact that you have on learning, and just relate. Like you're here, you're a bobcat. Like we're all bobcats.
Whatever.
But it's so crazy how someone we can see how someone from right here has such a success and is in the land of Jane Austen.
Yes, thank you. That was oh my God.
Yeah, that
Jane Austen
yes,
land.
that would starstruck anyone, I think. So it's been amazing.
Thank you.
You are living proof that dreams can come true.
Yes.
And thank you so much for your testimony today, and for showing us that, us as Mexicans or Hispanics, Latinos, whatever, we do matter. We do have a voice. We are good people, and we have so much potential, more than we even know. We have the potential to do great, great things. But to the viewers, thank you so much for tuning in today on The People Behind the Stories. Thank you for watching. Please make sure to like, subscribe, and to share this episode. If you have any recommendations of who you would like to hear next, please leave them in the comments or DM message us. But besides that, thank you for tuning in. We hope to see you next episode.
Bye.
Bye.